Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute. Had a lot of stuff done to the vehicle. I think the only thing I recorded on it was cab fab steering. Loving that stuff. Highly recommend that. Go back and watch that video if you haven't seen that and you're planning to upgrade your steering on a Gladiator or JL, either one. I did have 513 gears put in the vehicle. Anybody is on the fence about whether they should upgrade gears and get bigger gears. I run 35s right now. I'm getting ready to swap over to 37s whenever I can afford that. But putting those 513 gears in this truck made a world of difference. It made it enjoyable to drive again. You got power, you got fuel economy, you hit the gas and it goes. So I highly recommend that. On anything 35 and up, go ahead and go with a 513. I don't think I would go with anything bigger than that unless you're changing out axles and everything. The pinion size is getting pretty small on anything bigger than a 513. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. So highly recommend it. It's been a game changer. I did do the TerraFlex big brake kit. So 4 piston calipers on all 4 wheels. That's awesome. Easy to install. I did not video that. I needed brakes, so I went ahead and done that. I will suggest those calipers in that kit. Shop around for it. I ended up getting mine for around $2,400, which, if you get them from TerraFlex are $2,800. Most other places $2,800. That's $2,400. I think I got some kind of coupon, and I didn't. Not because I'm a YouTuber or anything like that. It's just I found the deal. I think I got an extra $100 and some off, which got free shipping. It was great. So what are we doing now? Now we're going to install the Gatekeeper Off-Road steering knuckle lights. So that way when we go around, I'm installing the Gatekeeper mounts. I've got some Amazon lights. The mounts are like right at $200. I'll leave a link in for Amazon. So get it directly from Gatekeeper. It's like $199 plus shipping. It's like $20-30 from shipping. Amazon, it's like $230, $220, somewhere in there. So free shipping. So you can go ahead and get these at the same price from Amazon, shipping included. However, though, the lights that they sell on Gatekeeper are start around $99, and that's for the cheap Chinese ones. So I do have some Amazon lights that we're going to try. Those weren't very expensive. I'll link with whatever these are in the video. I'll let you get a close-up of those. They used to have the GK Gatekeeper engraved in there. Now they're like pop riveted on, so they're pretty. I do think that there's other companies making these now. When I was looking to purchase these, I've had them for a while, I couldn't find any others. So I think Iron Offroad or Iron Rock Offroad, I think they're making them now. They look pretty similar, but Gatekeeper's one that built them and started it, so that's what we're going to put on. All right, so what we need, you'll need your mounts. You will need a 13 millimeter 12-point socket, and then ratchets and extensions, whatever. So we are going to do some wiring. So you'll need your wire tools. So stuff to cut and crimp wires and splice wires. I use these, putting wires together, I use these little heat shrink, what are they called? It's a heat shrink solder wire connector. So it's got, you just put your wire in there, it's got a little piece of solder in the middle, and then it's also got your heat shrink on the outside. So it's a waterproof connection, and then I'll come on top of that and I'll put some heat shrink to make it look pretty after that. But I use those. You can use, if you're wanting to make it to where you could plug them up and unplug them, get these butt connectors, and these are heat shrink as well. I'm probably not going to do that because I don't feel like I'm going to be unplugging the wires. You do need some wire. So right there, I mean, it's in its own loom. It's 2 wire, so black and a red. You will need, if you want, some type of wire loom. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to use this or not yet. I may use it when I'm running across the hood, going to the other side. You will need a place to plug it into, whether that be a switch in your dash or your aux switches, which are on the Gladiator Rubicon, or if you have an aux switch panel. Wherever you're going to wire it to, you'll have to have that. Or you could directly wire it where your fog lights go. I've seen that done. You will need to know that you have an approved light before you do that, or you will probably get a ticket. So that's everything you'll need that I know of for now. We will get over here, get the camera positioned, some lighting, and we will start taking off the bolts where these gatekeeper mounts will mount. Now here's the driver's side of the rig. This will go right here, just like that. You'll know because gatekeeper, GK, will be where you read it left to right. So you will take off this bolt and this bolt. You definitely want to have it off the ground, whether that be lifted up with a jack stand or whatever. I removed the tire because I can stand here and work. Not only can y'all see it, but I'm not fighting with the tire here. So tire removed off the ground because this is supporting weight. So it's weight bearing or load bearing. That one and that one. So this one up in here is kind of hard to get to. You'll have to have an extension. And there's not a whole lot of good videos on this, so that's not really working. Maybe I can turn a little more. Just rip my glove. So I may have a shorter extension over there, which I will get. That will be helpful. Maybe a good idea to put a little Loctite on these. It's definitely not something you won't come back out. There's no way possible I'm getting a torque wrench in here to be able to torque this back. So I'll probably put a dab of blue Loctite on it before I go. Put a dab on there. So as you can see, this thing's still dirty. We went back up to, what's the name of the trail? Oh, Dix Creek. We took a guy that we're trying to get into Jeeping is our associate pastor. We took him up there, and him and his son, and we played in the mud a good bit. And so again, this truck was from New Hampshire, and they put some sort of fluid film on the vehicle, and the mud is impossible to get off. So we're slowly trying to clean that off, get that filmy stuff off of there. That way we can coat this thing underneath with the salt shield coating. It will make a world of difference. We come back and I can spray this thing off. So I guess just give it the good hiatus. But you just don't want to strip anything or break anything. Okay. And we'll let the Loctite work from there. So there is your mount. It is on there. Make sure it's on there. Could not find a stubby extension. So I've got my swivel. I just don't like swivels, honestly. I'll probably break it right here. I don't like them. Alright, so that one's on. We will, while I got this good angle and everything, I'll set the light on here. Let you see what it's going to look like. Alright, the light looks to be pretty nice. It does have cooling fins, not great big ones. They are heavily painted or coated with whatever that is. The mounts are not great. They leave much to be desired, but this is like $30, $40 compared to $200 and some if you get the good light from Gatekeeper. All right, so this guy's going to go right in here. So you'll have to somehow figure out how to hold that down because it does have a slot. I'll go ahead and get this on here if I can. There we go. All right, so there we go. I would imagine we want that pointed directly with the tire. That way when we turn our wheels that way, light is pointing that way. The thing we're going to have to figure out is where we want this thing positioned. You've got to keep it off the tire. So we're going to make sure of that. We'll do that when we put the tire back on. And we got to keep it off of this when we turn all the way over to this way. Which right now, it doesn't appear to be that it'll hit anything, so maybe when this side's stuffed up into the fender, maybe we get close up here. I doubt it, but we'll see. All right, we'll go do the other side, and we'll adjust all this. We'll probably set the tire on here, see where it goes, and then we'll wire it up. And we'll have our wiring just follow this natural wiring of the vehicle all the way up in to the motor compartment, across the engine compartment to our aux switches over there. All right, this side is a little darker, a little harder to see, but still you got a bolt there, a bolt up here. So you get that Gatekeeper. So, just like that. And you got this arm here that looks like it's going to get in your way, but it doesn't. It might get in our way of being able to get to the bolt, but that'll be it. So we'll use our handy dandy extension Go ahead and get that real close. There you go. So that's on there tight. Get light, set it on. And here is the light, unboxing it. And it's an Outrage, AUTRUDGE. Two of them, LED pod, made in China. So like I said, there's the light. Light looks nice. You see it's got these slots. You would think that your mount would have slots in it as well. It does not. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this on. See, it's got a little keeper where it'll keep the bolt. It's got a 14 on one side and a 13 on the other. Just tighten those up for now. And we will go stick it on. Alright, so you can see it's close, but your tire ain't never going to get no further that way. So that should work. Still not 100% sure on the exact position. We may move it to the tire. We may move it just flush with the end of this bracket. So where the light stops, right where the end of the bracket stops. That may be what we do. But it's movable, so we can adjust it as we need. We'll go ahead and do that for now. Looks pretty good. And then as far as up and down, I believe straight out will be where we want it. All right. So we're not in our final place yet, so we're just gonna loop this out, figure out where all this goes up in, which could be right behind this little thing here. So we'll just go straight up through here and then we'll catch it on the top side after I get my stool. So as with everything, make sure you have extra wiring and don't leave yourself short, because you'll just end up needing more later. Alright, so I see our wire down. I'm gonna go back here. Grab a hold of it. There's our wire. On the right side of the wire. I put wire coming. Ow. What needs to wrap that wire on? How does the top of the wire not come? There we go. Okay. Alright, so again, we'll do that. We'll get a bunch pulled out. That looks like a mess, don't it? Okay. Right along. Edge there. This new home will be riding right like that. I'm gonna try to go back that way just a little bit. But I don't believe I'm going to. I believe I'm gonna come up, hook that into the wire loom. Make sure I have plenty of extra over there. And then make the wire follow the other wires back to that light. I'm going to cut you off for now. All I'm going to be doing is sticking that wire in this loom. Nothing to see here. We are back. We've got the wire ran up through across the engine compartment. Right now we're just taking a piece of wire heat shrink and go ahead and putting it on the light wiring maybe. My heat shrink's not big enough. Okay, I'll get a bigger piece of heat shrink. There we go. So I bought like a 5-pack of heat shrink. It's got like 5 different sizes and multiple feet of all that. Pretty cheap. Again, I believe off of Amazon. So we'll just go ahead and get that up there. We will continue looking up through here because I couldn't do that from the top. But we'll get this wire secured all the way down. We'll run it all the way through up through here to where our connection will be able to go right here. And then we'll heat shrink it, zip tie it down. Been having issues today with my microphone. It's staying hooked up, but it's not, my phone is not using it all the time, which is very frustrating when you're in the middle of a video and then you find out that your sound isn't working. So bear with me on all that. We're just going out through here, following wires and lines to come up to the very end out here where we want to be. Remember, all this extra is going on the other side to come up from that light over to the switch, and it's all going to get wired together over there. So just go down through here, following these wires. And I guess these are all lines, not wires. Well, one's a ABS sensor. Find the end of your wire. Come up through here. And you kind of want to think ahead if you're going to do anything else, which I never knew these lights were even here. I already had these on. Probably before I did my pod lights or my ditch lights on the pillars up there. All right, so we're almost there. I gotta get a few more zip ties. Yeah, but be thinking about what you're gonna do in the future, because you don't want to run stuff in the way of a whole new system that you're going to be running later. I will be putting a lift on this thing hopefully next year. I doubt I get it this year, just for some fact I'm out of money. But we'll be getting a lift next year and then go up to 37. So you want to leave room for improvements. You want to make sure that's not where that shock can get right there. Slightly longer zip ties would be nice. The ones that come with the light work great, but I'm out of those. They were long. These are just a little short. That'll be all right. All right, so now we're ready to cut all these tails off. And wire in our first light. So here we are, we're up on a knuckle. We'll put one more zip tie down there in a minute, but right now we're just running this thing to make sure we have enough wire. So I think I'll be safe to cut that baby off about right there. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right, we'll strip this back. I'll bring you back when we're soldering these connectors on with the connectors I like to use. And then we'll put the heat shrink on, zip tie this side down, we'll go to the other side. All right, we have our connectors we're getting ready to use, those little guys. We will strip this wire, both red and black. All right. And we take, so you can see this thing, I don't know why they do that, but one side's bigger than the other. So if you have two different size wire, like this light wire is just a tick, or sorry, my power wire is just a tick bigger than my light wire. So I'm gonna put the big end over it. Make sure our wire is up there where that silver spot is, where the solder will be. We'll take the other wire, go in right beside it. And if you have enough room on your wire, you can always pull it out like this right here. Get those babies side by side, then push it back over, which is exactly what we did there. All right, now let's let that sit there for a second while we get our heat gun off the floor. Put our heat gun on. So if you want to get the ends, turn our heat up a little bit. If you want to get the ends first, the part with the red spot that goes over the wire, that will help keep the wire from moving. And then you just, from there, you get the solder hot, and you'll see it when it goes soft. So that wire connection is done. If it doesn't come, if it cools off right, not exactly liking that. There, it cooled off.
All right, we'll do that one more time with the negative wire. And once you get to this point, it's a little harder because you have less movement between the two. We'll stick it up in there the best we can, making sure that the two are side by side in the solder patch. It is. And then we'll reheat again. Might go back down on the temperature a little bit. So get the wire side first, That way it won't run away from you. And then get the solder section. Kind of do it on both sides if you can. There it goes. Now our solder just liquefied and our connections are perfect. That guy is hot. Just ask me how I know. And you can see how it likes to sit down and be a good boy. I can't remember what job I was doing, but I was using it, and everywhere I set it down, I would go to set my arm down right on top of it. So I had those little screen marks in my arm all the time. I got long sleeves on now, so now I'll have to burn through something to get to burn me. All right, so now we'll put our big. You want to let this cool down, because if it's too hot, it'll go ahead and start melting that heat shrink that we have on there. We don't want that to happen, so we'll put our heat shrink over top of all that. So that's how pretty we'll be. Kind of get it centered. All right, we'll get our gun back out and we'll shrink it up. So we got a waterproof connection, and then we got heat shrink on top of it. So you should never have to worry about arcing, sparking, water intrusion, mud, whatever. Oh, that's beautiful. All right. We'll let that cool a little bit, and then we will finish our tie down. All right. We'll start tying all this stuff up. So just thought of that. You do want, so all this moves together, so we'll see if any pulling of the wire. So yeah, I might clip that one off. Might. Let's see what kind of movement we got here. Okay, we're fine there. Go all the way full extend. And we're fine there. We're not pulling on the cable at all, so that will be good. Cinch those down. Clip off our excess, and I'll put one more tie to keep this one down right here. This side is done, so we will go over there and do that side. Just, you know, you can look in here. So my wire is following brake lines up to here, and we go up underneath the cab, or up underneath the hood. You know, if you're worried about stuff tearing off, look, if it's going to tear off your wire there, it's going to tear off your brake line. So all that will be a little tighter when we get a bigger lift. Right now it's kind of loose because we took this bracket off to put on this TerraFlex, which is dirty as crap, TerraFlex braking system. Here is the rest of our wire. We will now go hook up the other side, then look forward to running it up into the hood engine compartment as well. Alright, same procedure as the other side. We will put our heat shrink on. You don't have to use the heat shrink, but if you're going to use it, you got to put it on there first, or you will not be able to get it on later. You'll have to cut your wires back apart. Alright, so here we go. Again, big end on the red end. Get these untwisted. Alright, pull it back through to where you're overlapping at the solder. Okay. The way the wire's hanging there, I might have to hold this one while I heat it. You don't want to melt your wire. You want to get it hot enough to where your solder heats up and liquefies and goes onto your wiring, which I did. And again, that's pretty hot, so you want to let it cool off before you bend it too much. Not because it'll come back apart, it might just actually poke through the actual plastic on it. Alright, so there's your black end. Alright, we'll get that centered in the solder. Does anybody else just forget how to speak English? Just asking for a friend. There we go. Alright, we're going to have to hold that because it is wanting to move on us a good bit. A little deeper. Okay. Right there, I can see my, there we go. See it starting to move on me, and I don't want that to happen. It probably would be a good practice before you actually soldered it, or before you actually put the last bit of heat shrink on, to check continuity. I did not do that. But just know if you have an issue, you may have to undo this. So always leave extra wire, or as much extra wire as you can, for future endeavors. If not, it's not the end of the world. You'll come in here, you'll solder an extension on here, you'll just have two different joints, and it'll look a little more janky than this does. Again, we need to let this cool off just a little bit more because it's still warm, but we got good solder contact. And again, we're going to go right up through here, follow those lines, and right up into the engine bay. All right, Coming in with our heat shrink. All right, we'll let that cool, and I'm going to route this wire up into the engine compartment. I'm not going to show you that this time. You've seen on the other side, it's exactly like the other side, just a shorter piece of wire. Well, I'll bring you back up when we get up there to wire it all in and make our final connections. So here's where it's going to get a little different. Here's our factory wiring. Like all this stuff goes back in here neat and nice. So I just got it all tore apart right now. This will all be taped up, put away. I do need heat shrink before I go any further. So let me get those two pieces. Wait a minute, let's see here. So these two are going to go together like this, okay? So I need one big piece of heat shrink, and it's going to come down into this size wire using the blue heat shrink connectors. Then on the end of these will be a male bunt connector to plug into the factory harness, and then on the negative wire will be a loop that will go on to a ground spot right here. So I'll need a big piece of heat shrink over top of these two wires right now. So let me get that. Alright, so let me go ahead and crimp or get these out the way. Connections made. My dadgum tools ain't working so great. I got these back when Radio Shack was a thing. There we go. There we go. So now we'll figure out how much of this we'll need. It's not much, just a little spot. Oh, goodness. Well, I might crimp these or get these cut. My gosh, that stuff tough. Alright, we got our negative. Kinda. So like save all the old wire you have. Oh wait a minute, there's a prettier negative. Let's use that negative. because you never know when you'll need it for just small splice jobs like this right here. There we go. Hot ground. Okay. So we've got our heat shrink. We don't have our heat shrink on yet. Now we're getting ready to put our heat shrink on. Heat shrink not big enough. Not quite big enough. And I got the next size up heat shrink. My fear is that it's too big. But maybe not. We'll see. If it shrinks down around it, then we'll never good. Alright, there we go. Slide that up the wire a good ways. Alright. Get the heat gun. It's going to be a lot of wire in there. Alright, so we'll get our 2 reds. And you can turn them a little bit together. Slide it up in there. Probably best to go this way, that way. Here we go. Alright, so oh gosh, I had it. Alright, reds are all together. And we will shrink that up. That's a thicker piece of solder, so it will take a little longer to get it right. But we definitely want it melted. Alright, that should be good. Let that cool off for a minute. Alright, we'll get our negatives. Negative wire, negative from the lights. Give it a twist. Get our blue connector and go on. Get our other negative wire and go in the small end. Back it up. Alright, we should be ready for heat. So we'll heat that side where it won't fall off. Heat this side where it won't fall off. And then we'll start heating our solder. Alright, that one heated pretty quick, so that's done. We will wait until connections are made to put this piece on here. On our red one, we will be hooking up this blue bunt connector, which will plug in there. On our negative, we'll go ahead and do it now because it's ready. So I think I want us a little more wire exposed there. Maybe I don't. It felt pretty good. But you still got to crimp this, and then you heat shrink it. So yeah, I'm going to give it a little more wire there. I'm also going to put a piece of heat shrink on here to allow us to cover up the end there. That's better. Does it need it? Probably not. Am I going to use it? Yes, I am. Alright, here's the part that I hate on any wiring project, and that's crimping. So, alright, the bottom is there, so the piece that comes together, so you want that to be on the round side of your crimp, and you want the top side to be coming down and pushing in. So let's make sure we're in there, which we were not. Put the crimp in, and it still don't work. That's why I hate this. I hate crimping ends. Alright, let's try it again. And that's it. I still hate crimped ends. Somebody figure out how to make that other joint with where you just solder it. That would be amazing. Oh, that's hot. All right, that's that side. We will do nearly the same, except for with a bunt connector there. And another piece of heat shrink. Get her end crimp, or spliced, not spliced, stripped. And we'll get our connector stripped. Look there, perfect. Slide our heat shrink up. Okay, crimp is on the bottom. And this one's maybe too big. Crimp is on the bottom. Alright, let's see if it worked. It did. Alright, we'll shrink it. Slide this up. Ow, that's hot. I'm a slow learner, y'all. right. So now, before we heat the last piece and put all this back together, I'm going to hook it up, and then we'll see if we've got lights. So that'll be hooking our negative up and then hooking our positive in, turning the Jeep on, firing up our aux switches. But I'm going to get all this cleaned up a little bit and then bring it back. Alright, right here is where our ground's going to land. Don't push too much on the truck, Chuck. So we'll get this off. Takes 10 millimeter. Nothing else going to it. Should be a good ground. Looks clean. Somebody's in the driveway. Okay. First time it's been off. Good deal. Alright, we'll just hook this up. Again, this is not permanent, this is just temporary for us to be able to test our job. Goes on easier than it comes off. And this is the time to be rough with your wires. You want it to not work now instead of when you need it. So you want to know that it is or it ain't in good quality. Alright, this should be our aux switch hook up there. Guess it was Amazon because they're tearing up my yard or my driveway. Alright, now I'll back you up and we'll turn on some lights. Alright, may lose sound for a minute because it's probably going to try to hook to the truck, but I'm going to go in there, turn it on, and see what we get. I'm hoping you're not blinding out already. So I have no light here, and no light there. Okay? Alright, so that's all full. The problem with that is that's the same thing that my CD would do. So this other guy right here, without a bunch connector on it, is all one. What will happen with those lights there? I'm not going to show you all that. I'm going to bring you back shortly. You can't even see those lights burning. There it is. See it right there. There you go. There you go. Alright. I will bring you back after I've got the wiring fixed. Like I said, that's going into aux 4. I will get that switched over to aux 1. And then you'll see us back when we got everything done, tires on. Alright. Okay, the wiring's done. Got it lined up to port 1. So issue with that was the one that already had a blunt connector on out here was actually the aux switch 4, which if you know anything about a Gladiator and JLs and JTs, you have wire connections up here under the hood, and you also have them under the dash. Over there, under the dash, inside the vehicle. So my CB is hooked up to aux 4. That way I can just turn it on, turn it off. You don't have to worry about leaving it on, battery running dead. Anyway, found out the hard way that that blunt connector that was already out here was also for our aux 4. So we found the connector for aux 1, went ahead and hooked it up, and it does work. So as you may have seen on the intro to this video, we got a new toy on the channel, and that's a new drone. So you'll see all that footage again here of the lights at night via the drone. And that drone is a DJI Air 3S. Got it on a very good deal, used, but looking forward to using that and learning where to use it. We're going to Georgia State Park and going to do Chestnut Mountain Road Trail in May. I'm not sure if I can use it there, but I'm gonna call and find out from the park rangers. That way I can legally fly the drone. But you will see the drone more on trail. Yep, but check out the lights. If you have any questions, I'll have everything, try to have everything linked in the description below and on my Amazon page, which is also linked in the video. That's it. Come back and see us. Pinch Gut Creek. I enjoy having you here. We're up to like 317 subscribers. Need many more. I appreciate every one of you. But please like, subscribe, share, comment. If you want to know anything specific about this setup or how it's done, what wire I use, like I said, it's all going to be in the links or on my Amazon page. Just go on down there and check it out. You can use lights. They don't have to be extremely outrageous. You can get the ones off Amazon. You just want to make sure you're around the 2 to 3 inch size wise. You don't want to go much above that, or you're going to get into fitment issues and rubbing issues, and a light won't last very long if you're beating and banging on everything underneath the vehicle. But thank you for watching. Please come back.